Welcome back to the UKLC. I'm Scoundrel, joined by Orcs, and we just saw Barrage go 3-0, taking out M&M Gaming in an emphatic style, especially every single player on that roster performing where they needed to in that game. And as you said, it has been a beautiful culmination of 5 players coming together to create an excellent team. I actually just got linked an article, which I'm definitely going to read afterwards, talking about how Barrage built that roster and what kind of decision-making process they went through to get there. So if anyone has seen that article over on Esports News UK, if you want more information on Barrage's roster, definitely go and check it out. I'll link it as well on Twitter later on if anyone's interested in that read, because it definitely is something that is impressive to see how they've completely turned the face of their brand around in just one small split.
Yeah, and I remember because there was a lot of players trialing and they were talking about how things were different for Barrage. You know, they were being sending tests to fill out to sort of review the sort of personality they have and how that would interact with other players that they wanted to
really
make
cool.
the team. Yeah. So interesting. I think if it hadn't worked, everyone would have disregarded it, but it clearly has. And I think it sort of shouldn't be as results biased, because I think this thing is something commonly done, as you said earlier, in sports. But I think the fact that it is working so excellently is clear evidence that it has strength to it. But
we're still early on in the season.
Yeah.
Let's not get totally ahead of ourselves. They've only played 3 games. We have plenty of games left in the UKLC before we can make any massive sweeping judgments. But right now, Barrage
are going to win Worlds.
There you go. Right now, Barrage do look good, so that's all we can say about it. Let's move on to our next game. It's going to be Envision versus Enclave. And Envision are a roster built of ex and current UK superstars. And honestly, a roster that, as Orc said earlier, probably should be challenging those academy teams very, very easily. They're taking on Enclave. This is a game that, in my eyes, they need the win. I think they should win, but it's where they've got to start that winning process from again.
I mean, this reminds me, had a situation in the Nordics where there was a roster, Nordavind, we had huge expectations for. They went up against an undefeated team. We're like, they should win this, and they didn't. This could be another situation like that. Envision, by all means, have not had the start they wanted. They did have a tough first week schedule, which was XL and Barrage. Initially, we didn't think that was that tough because we didn't think Barrage were this good. But those two teams are pretty hot commodities right now. So maybe this is an easier matchup against Enclave. But either way, one of these teams will come out with a point at the end of this. Just comes down to which will it be.
It needs to be Envision, I think, for the sake of the roster that they've built as well. I mean, you've got... And we meme about it, Shikari, all the time, but the back-to-back-to-back UK champion in the form of Shikari.
I'm saying back-to-back-to-back. It's back-to-back-to-back-to-back-to-back.
5-time UK champion?
I mean, he was still on the roster for Fnatic when they won last time.
Sure, there you go. Okay. He's played a huge amount in the UK, considered one of the best UK top laners out there. Prosfair, who... I'm so glad to see him back in the UK. He had the Korean hyperbolic time chamber experience. You know, this is a guy who's put a lot into improving his craft, and is featured at multiple European Masters. He's definitely got what it takes to be one of the best supports in Europe, I think, with the time that he's invested. Nolty, who is a jungler that has made his name over the last couple of seasons, and has really come from, I think he came from the Null and ended up coming up into the big boy leagues realistically.
Played Scouting Grounds and got discovered there obviously into the UK sort of ecosphere.
Yeah, and then obviously Yusa, who is another rookie who came in at the start of last season in spring and was huge in that season as well. So lots of really good names in Envision. Going up against Enclave, you'll recognize a couple of names there like Only Angel, but actually have built an entirely new roster realistically coming into this split of the UK.
Yeah, I mean, the Heathens you've seen in Diabolos, but the others, it is sort of fresh faces. There have been issues. Obviously, every team who's 0-2 has had issues. And I think the worrying thing for them is that they've faced teams the likes of, Phelan and really struggled against them. And I think for a lot of people, Phelan were a lower end team. This could be proved wrong in the coming weeks. But for now, Enclave really, it looks like they've had a very rough time starting the split, and they don't look like the strongest team. But if they can topple Envision here, it sets them for a new direction, and there's always an opportunity to bounce back. But looking for their first win still. We've seen the Ornn come out. This can be flexed, obviously, but Shikari, a veteran on that champion, and then Braum as an answer to deny that engage, and the Aphelios as a power pickup, which works well with the Braum.
Absolutely. They've got the Aphelios Braum combo. They did give that Ornn over to Shikari. It's a pretty high priority pick for the top lane as well at the moment, and Shikari, like you said, has played that champion to death. He's got so much experience on it. I guess they didn't really feel like, because I guess they could toss a coin for Senna and Aphelios, being that they're both unbanned right now. So that's, I guess, the reason that they went for the Ornn. They just said, okay, well, we'll take one or the other in this situation. So they end up getting the Senna in this, because unless they went for Aphelios, Senna bot lane.
It works well as a flex pick as well, on top of that. I guess, yeah, trade-off in terms of the AD carries, they're happy giving Aphelios over. The big concern is necessarily the Braum. But obviously, you want to put priorities a little bit different. I know Prospect isn't the biggest player off Braum himself. He likes something with a bit more agency. The concern is here that a support hasn't been picked up so far.
And the ban phase is coming up next.
Yeah, they can flex the Ornn, but not necessarily the best. At least going to be picked up for Nulty.
That's a classic Nulty pick.
It is a classic for him. And then on the other side, Enclave, I really like the Jarvan. I think when teams are struggling in the situation they are, potentially against a roster that on paper is just better, ease of execution.
And Jarvan is one of the easiest junglers to execute.
You press R, you let your other teammates press R, boom, team fight done. And especially up against the likes of a Senna, very effective. I would like to see a Thresh band away here and potentially a Tahm Kench as well, just to deny any possibility of getting her safely outside of that Cataclysm.
Thresh being banned away. You talked about agency. Prosper is excellent on the Thresh, so they are just trying to target him out with those support bans. Looks like mid is going to be focused out here. Maybe not trying to give an easy blind mid pick, given that mid and top are still available, and Syndra is one of the easiest blind mid picks that you can pick up.
He's so strong right now as well, offers a ton of priority to go in tandem with the Jarvan, because obviously Elise is going to have a little bit more early pressure than he will. Enclave do have their second banner come through. Tahm Kench would make a lot of sense, and it is going to be taken away. So I really like this so far for Enclave. They've drafted answers to what Envision has. They're going to punish Yusa later in the game, and they've denied 2 picks that can offer him safety. So the Senna could potentially look very vulnerable. Envision are just banning away power picks in the Syndra and the Soraka. And now over to Enclave, potentially going for a blind pick for only Angel. Gangplank would make a lot of sense. Trade's fine into Ornn. Safe in a lot of matchups, but Envision, they can still flex the Ornn. They can still potentially put something that would give them a challenge. Mordekaiser, good matchup into the Ornn. It's a favorable matchup for the Mordekaiser. Obviously has a lot of strength in team fights because you can isolate a target and can be really difficult to deal with. Also good for neutral objective setup because you ult the enemy jungler and they can't smite. I like it overall, but the question is, what is going to come through from Envision? So the Rakan,
That's a classic Prospect.
it's very good in a Braum.
Yeah.
It's a good matchup in a Braum because Braum doesn't have any instantaneous hard CC. The ult has a little bit of a delay. And Rakan's too mobile to hit with it realistically. And then on top of that, if you try and apply the passive, the concussive blows, he'll just dash away. So I like that in terms of that retrospect. In terms of peel for this Senna, you're not offering a ton. You're not really going to be able to save it. And Adept is going to come back once again on the Tristana. So quite a lot of AD in terms of the later stage of the game, but they still have the AP potential from Elise and Ornn. It means that Enclave, they need to find a mid lane matchup that can go up against a Tristana. It's a hard one to take. It does well into a lot of champions. But if they can find a good matchup, they're potentially looking at a pretty solid draft here.
Looks like they are going to be going for the Cassiopeia, which will be their final pickup in this draft. I can only imagine that's Cassiopeia mid, of course, and we're going to see the Mordekaiser head up top versus Shikari. So these are the rosters that we are seeing. Now, talk to me a little bit. Let's start with Envision. Win conditions. Where are they looking to get their victory?
So they have a really strong mid jungle. Again, the Tristana can dominate most lanes in the early levels because she has great trading ability and the ability to jump in and jump out. You have the Elise as well. In the later stage of the game, you have 2 big hyper carry AD carries, but my difficulty is that in team fights, you're going to struggle to protect the Senna. Tristana, if she's not freely auto-attacking, will be limited.
What support would you prefer in this situation?
I feel like there isn't a good support in this situation. I think this is a problem as they picked up the Senna and then prioritized the Elise. I think that maybe you put Nulty on a lower tier and then you get something to
Not even like the Nautilus or the Leona?
Nautilus isn't a great matchup in a Braum.
No.
And again, it still wouldn't offer a ton of protection. I think Rakan, it's fine in the current situation, but up against a Jarvan, this is a problem. I mean, this is why I think this pick's so valuable in the current meta against these mobile AD carries. And I feel like for Enclave, they have a very easy to execute composition. They have a great front line. They have 2 great DPSs in the later stages of the game. I think as long as they don't fall apart in the early levels, they should be taking this game. But that's it. That's looking at just the composition.
Exactly. We need to talk about execution in game as well. And
yeah,
we know
Envision
that
are on paper stronger players, but to play for the win conditions of Envision's compositions, I expect to see a really strong game from Adept and Nulty. And that's my concern, is Nulty has been the underperformer on the roster, in my opinion, so far. So he needs to have a real big step up, and hopefully he does, and that could be a confidence booster. But if Cleanse can challenge him, if they're unable to get something off, this game will become very difficult very quickly.
Well, we'll have to see. We are diving on to the Rift here. It's going to be Envision taking on Enclave, the battle for the 5th place letter in the alphabet. I didn't even execute on that at all well. I tried to say 5th. You know what? I'm just going to pass. I'm just going to leave that one right there. The 5th letter in the alphabet. That's what I tried to say.
Wait, but it's N. It's not EN Vision.
Oh, is it not?
No, it's NV. It's N Vision. Just N.
I'm an idiot.
Not EN.
I thought it was Envision with an E.
No.
Wow. That ruined my joke entirely. I just don't even know where to go from here. I think I might just take off my headset and leave.
Yeah, you better.
You had your finger on the mute button.
Yeah, you better.
So we're going to let that one slide. It's been a while. I'm an old man. When you get to my age, sometimes you can't spell. And that's okay. We're okay with that.
So, moving on. We want to see a really strong early game coming out of Nulty. Want to see him take the tempo and accelerate it. If Adept can be strong as well, he's great at moving into side lanes, potentially threatening. Top is hard up against Mordekaiser. He's one of the harder dives in the game. Elise is very good at diving, but post 6 Mordekaiser challenge, I wouldn't mind seeing them put some attention top lane in the early levels though, because Mordekaiser is vulnerable then, but we'll have to see. It depends if Shikari can get priority. He shouldn't really in this matchup, but Shikari has... Specifically against Only Angel. This was a matchup where Only Angel was playing Jace into Ornn. And by all means, this is when Jace was very strong and got solo killed twice.
Yeah, well, I mean, Shikari has been known to turn bad matchups into good matchups just because he knows the few windows that he could exploit to get the wins in them. So, you know, I think definitely keep our eye on that top lane matchup. It's going to be interesting. If you were, oh wow, okay, Cleanse is going aggressive onto to Nulty here. He does see that the blue buff has been taken. Actually, clever of Nulty to.
Yeah, the blue buff was in the brush.
In the brush,
he just thought it was gone.
He just thought it was gone. That's really, really nice play from Nulty. I wonder if Nulty was expecting that, or is this just a standard procedure for him?
It's just pretty standard.
Air's going aggressive, or rather, Adept going aggressive onto Air, and again we're going to see Cleanse moving in. Yeah.
Fine. Yeah, I mean, that's the power just on it. You jump in, you proc the bomb, your jump resets, you can jump straight out if you need to. Adept completely safe. And the big thing here is Cleanse wasted a ton of time there, and he gave over a ton of information. They know exactly where he is.
They know he's going to blue buff.
Yep.
You can even see Pros there walking in.
Walking up,
he can just be a nuisance at this point in time.
At bare minimum, he might be able to reset the buff. At bare minimum, he might force a smite from Cleanser, so he can't contest the skull, but isn't yet going to reset, so it looks like Cleanser can...
It was the flag. The flag kept it aggroed, I think.
The flag was split. It was just he was in range. Because if everyone leaves the range, it will reset, but he was just in range to pick it up. So it doesn't deny him the buff, but it slows him down again. And this is just Envision setting Jarvan back more and more, and that does more to help out Nulty, who is the big early game win condition for this team.
I'm actually interested in that because I think the flag's technically coded as a minion. I'm wondering whether it does count as an aggro.
I mean, it doesn't, because it doesn't try to attack it.
No, I don't know. Maybe I'm just reading too much into it. He was still in range, like you said, so he just turned around and head back onto to Cleanse. Good though, good Cleanse gets it, forces the smite, but has slowed him down significantly here, so Nulty should have the advantage, although there hasn't been I don't think any other Rift Scuttlers have been contested
I just saw double on the way pings towards that Scuttle Crab. Both junglers trying to head over there.
Nulty has the advantage in this situation, gets the cocoon onto Cleanse, and here comes Adept, forces the flash, and immediately the repel comes through. This should be Cleanse going down. Really, really good play from Envision early on. Adept's going to pick up the first blood and get a blue buff for his troubles too.
Yeah, a little bit of a failed flash from him, actually. Didn't get over the wall, but overall the play works out. And we were talking about early dives against Mordekaiser pre-6. Very easy to execute. Nulty could threaten something here. He has flash.
He has flash. Wonder if he can go for it. Goes for it, forces the flash from Only Angel. Flash for flash in that situation is perfectly okay.
The big thing is it can deny a wave here. It's very dangerous for Only Angel to TP back up in this situation. You have seen Cleanse is coming over to sort of deny that, though. I think they will just let him pick up the wave. But TP burn, flash burn from Only Angel. Envision in a pretty comfortable spot, and Nulty doing work to make this early game go in his favor.
Bot lane though, some aggression coming out, and immediately the Heathen just trying to create a bit of space. Nice knock up there from Prosved just to keep them away. Yusa will eventually back off. We'll get a bit of healing back too, and take a cheeky auto attack, but that's a good 2v2. Enclave needed a win in this situation. The rest of their lanes aren't going particularly well right now.
Yeah, pretty strong trade coming out from Enclave. It's a power of the Severum weapon for Aphelios and the Braum passive. You can very quickly stack it up when you do use your Q. And then Yusa, again, I mean, the Rakan isn't offering the most peel towards the center. You have your shielding, you have the heal, and then the knock-up. It's a little bit delayed, so often you have to wait for an ample opportunity to land it, which Senna doesn't really want. She wants instant safety. But Rakan, not the best for that. But overall, nothing really lost. Just a TP bin for Yusa to get back in lane. And you can see now him with the Nightmare advantage and Crossfair having recalled and come back. He's feeling confident to push up and get control of his bot lane area.
Shikari's got to be very careful here. Didn't have to burn Flash, but has got those 2 biscuits in hand too, so should be able to sustain. But he's taking trades that are working out okay for him right now. He's still got the teleport, right?
He does. It's not too big of an issue, and Only Angel not having Flash does reduce the kill pressure, but this matchup is Mordekaiser favored, so you should be expecting it to go in Only Angel's side, and he is punishing it, so it is good to see, but nothing really come.
I mean, Shikari was abusing those early levels, like you said, though. In the previous, before Only Angel was almost turret dived, Shikari had knocked him down to, what, a quarter HP or so?
Yeah.
So he did find some of those early windows to exploit, like we said, but as this matchup progresses, I mean, it's not exactly like Only Angel is behind in CS. He should start to take over.
He's too bulky for a tank to really take down, and he does so much percentage HP damage. It works well, but so much control in this bot side river that was executed by Envision means they're easily going to be able to pick up the dragon, and they're looking good so far.
I think they jumped over the wall repelled, right? They didn't even go around through the River Scuttler. I think they just repelled over the wall and then Prospect jumped over.
Yeah. So the River Scuttler didn't really offer anything, and that was the only vision, if you look at the bot side river, offered towards Enclave. So the level of control available for Envision is really good. I'm liking that, and it shows good sort of coordination around these objectives. But as of now, Enclave definitely not out of the game. Goal lead, not too significant. They have a lot of scaling picks. They have an easy to execute team fight. So they haven't fallen flat on their face yet, and still very much in the game.
So very even still so far, like you said. It's definitely where Enclave want to find themselves. There was a couple of early mishaps from Cleanse, but at the end of the day, they are still in a very, very competitive range of goal difference, and you wouldn't expect anything less right now. They are playing it safe, as it were. Bot lane did have a bad trade, but it's still very even. Really not much to say apart from there's a small CS advantage opening up in the mid lane, and obviously Nolty has had the advantage in the early game so far, but honestly it's been moderately even otherwise.
You can see the gold up in front of you, Nolty a little bit ahead, Adept a little bit ahead, and Yusa and Crossfair haven't just picked up that turret plate. Again, it's just little advantages here and there, nothing too major right now. But it's just this complete vision domination.
Yeah, there is really very little attempt from Enclave to push their vision control. But even if there is, Envision are doing a great job of just making sure that they are on top of it at all times.
Yeah, and this blue buff now going to be stolen away. This is a big factor, denying it away from air. Going to make it harder for them to contest priority against Adept and even trade, because a bad trade will lose a lot of mana.
So I think Only Angels popped the ultimate here to try and get Shikari and keep him close enough. Forces the flash out for Cleanse, but he was trying to buy time for Cleanse to head up, but unfortunately just not enough time ball.
It looked funny to us because Shikari was standing there. He was definitely on the edge of the Death Realm in that situation and just waiting for it to go down. Shikari survives, but Only Angel doing well to set that up. And I like the Enclave recognizing it's very difficult to contest the same side of the map as Envision. Envision's strong side, where they have their numbers advantage, because they have priority in the mid lane from Adept, it's just difficult. So instead, they choose to trade on the other side. But this is a situation where Envision might want to not let that happen.
Oh, this is going to be so close. And Shikari gets the kill here. I think they're going to deny the Rift Herald as well. That is a huge win for Envision. And maybe a bit of a risky play off the back of only burning a flash on the top side of the map.
Yeah, Enclave wanted to make something happen, go for the cross-map play to evade Envision's strong side, and Envision, they just move the numbers to the other side to prioritize that. Now, Enclave will get some plates here, but giving over 2 kills and losing out on the Herald, definitely not the way you want that to go.
Yusa actually picks up a couple of cheeky assists with the ultimate as well, which is nice.
Yeah, that's why you play Senna. That's
a little bit like a targeted Soraka ultimate. You just like, oh, I pick up assist across cross map.
Yep, just free gold. And free stat line is the important thing. So
exactly. Everyone knows KDA is important.
Crossfair had mobility boots. He ran all the way top lane and he gets nothing. And then Yusa just looks in that general direction, presses R, boom, 2 assists.
2 assists, yeah, Crossfair. Well, you're getting out supported by your AD carry, my dude.
Yep. Absolutely.
Still, Envision are definitely putting the pressure onto Enclave here. I mean, I don't think Enclave are making bad moves, but I mean, Envision are just reading it much better.
So this is a situation where Enclave are back on the map sooner. Envision, obviously, they won that fight, but they had to reset after that. And so it meant Enclave were actually able to challenge the Vision in this river for a brief amount of time. They got some wards down, they cleared out the control wards, but very quickly when Envision are back on the map, they'll respond and try and clear it out. There is, however, one ward still managed to sneak through that is behind. If you look on the minimap,
just where Nolty's crossing now, right?
yeah, it's just near the Raptor camp here. So this is the one ward that survived from Enclave's aggressive Vision. It means that they do see whenever anyone's moving over to that Dragon area, because right now that's the next objective on the table if Enclave do want to contest it.
Yep. One thing that I do want to point out is you mentioned right at the start of the game that Nolty had been a bit of the underperformance factor in Envision.
Yep.
Had a really good game so far.
Yeah.
Has been where he needed to be. He's made some good ganks happen. He's controlled the neutral objectives where needed. Yeah, been pretty impressed with Nolty this game so far.
Yeah, he hasn't died as well, which is always a positive.
Is that how we judge how well Nolty does, if he just doesn't die?
Particularly on Elise, there's a tendency sometimes to die in the early game. We saw that up against Barrage.
I think for me, she's one of the hardest junglers to play because she is just so like high risk, high reward sometimes.
I mean, she is difficult to make like a full impact on,
Yeah.
but she's also very powerful in the right hands.
True.
So that's the reason there's a lot of priority. Envision potentially looking, but just mainly to force Enclave away.
Take the heal, Adept. Sorry, that triggered me.
Just wanting to force them away and not let them contest any division that Envision have secured. That ward is still behind them. It hasn't been swept out, but for the most part, the river's kept clear. Right now, Durkin trading a bit with Yusa, mostly even, but the AD carry's just been left alone at farm, while the supports, they're engaged in the Vision wall.
Prosper and Nolty waiting here. They're going to get immediate pick onto Cleanse, who's just blown up there. And then Adept going to continue. Dodges,
nice
sidesteps
sidestep.
out of the Cassiopeia ultimate, and Air is going to be forced back. This will be a free Dragon, second of the game, going over to Envision.
That was crisp. That was crisp.
What's that meme, the chef guy from, the chef from that film, the Emperor's New Groove?
I can't remember.
I can't remember the name of the guy, but that's what we were doing right there.
Yeah, crisp play coming out from Adept, but Mosey, it was good setup. The Vision control was there. Cleanse wanted to contest the Dragon, but had no right to do so, and he gets punished for it. So very good setup from Envision, and it's clear they're understanding how to play out and set up for these objectives to punish Enclave the most. So very good team play so far from them, giving them this pretty significant lead. It's 3,000 at 12 minutes. They're 2 Dragons up, they're 4 kills up, in a pretty comfortable spot. And now they're looking for a gank at the bot lane. They are on a ward.
He's stuck around quite a long time here. Maybe going to be trying to burn a flash. Does a nice little sidestep. Good. I'd like to see that from a player. Nice,
did a little wiggle.
A little wiggle, like a cheeky little wiggle back and forth, and he dodges out that cocoon. It is going to be the Infernal Dragon now, so the Infernal Soul will be up and available. That's really good for Senna as well, because he can do a lot of damage in just pre-team fight situations as well.
Yeah, just one auto can often be enough to chunk someone out, and with that increased range you get later, also helps the burst coming out from the Adept. Infernal, definitely one of the strongest souls available, and also getting all those extra stats in. That bomb should actually take out the plate and go into Adept's pocket. And I mean, this is a power Tristana mid. Not only does she trade well into a lot of matchups, you leave her alone for a second with a tower, and it's going to get chunked out. We already talked a lot last game about the value of mid tower. It's already very low for the side of Enclave.
It'll be very, very quick to go down, and that'll allow them to be a bit more aggressive with their vision. It allows them to get more control of the Dragon and Baron areas as well, coming up to the 20-minute mark. And obviously, soon we'll be seeing a Rift Herald return, and they'll be able to try and focus down that too. This has been a very impressive game. I mean, you spoke before the game how you wanted to see envision a roster of this caliber. You know, we talked about it in the Nordic scene with Nordavind. When you have so many good individual players, you want to see them perform, and Envision seems to have really cleaned up some of the issues they were having last week.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's a big factor here. Nolty,
he's okay. Yeah, he'll repel out, but definitely an over-aggressive play there from Nolty. Didn't really know what. Maybe looking for a stray cocoon, but even then you didn't really have a man advantage to make that work.
Well, Prospect looking for something here. This is very aggressive, though.
Very aggressive. The quickness comes out. I don't think any of this team are on the same page right there. No one really there to support him either, so they're just going to back off in this situation.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what that was. I think Envision trying to jump the gun a bit too soon. They will clear out the vision. That is a big ult on cooldown, and the gauge is coming in.
Nolty now has already used Repel. Actually hasn't. He's still got it. Shikari is here, ready to try and do some disruption. Does actually get bashed away, so can't make the CC happen. And Envision are having to kite backwards. They have got a lot of protection right now. That big ultimate coming out from the center will keep keep them safe, and Shikari now in the front line. Adept very aggressively jumps in, has to flash away, but he does bait Cleanse in, who goes down. An absolutely brilliant Cassiopeia ultimate will force this out to a 2v2. And actually, Envision will end up backing off. They won't get the Rift Herald off this, so it was a pretty even team fight, but they will get the mid lane turret.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like Enclave should have had that fight. They started it, engaged it well, the quickness was down. There was moments where I thought, this is it. And I feel like they just weren't confident. Cleanse going for that short knock-up meant he missed out on Adept. Didn't get the kill on a flashless target. That should have easily been his. And then Durkin as well, with the Ophelia Assault, held it for such a long time. There were so many moments where everyone was clumped up, and I was like, this is the Ophelia Assault moment. And he just held it. Great concept from Enclave. Execution was off, and as a result, a fairly even trade. But I think it shows how easy to execute the team fights are for them. Even when it's a little bit of a mistake, they're still doing good. But Heathen,
so close there. Nolty almost finds the kill. Turret comes down from Aphelios just to zone them away. And actually, this might have been enough now to give Envision the Rift Herald, which they missed out on in the last team fight.
yeah, should be able to just pick this one up. Alone here on the tower. Cassiopeia does have ult once again, though.
Yeah, it's going to be careful. Shikari now, with that Abyssal Mask, actually looking to trade more effectively versus Only Angel, and Angel will drag him back in. Huge amount of damage coming down now as well. Shikari is just going to have to walk this one away. I think it's very close, but he should be able to survive very easily.
Yeah, if you use that Searing Charge and then get caught by the grab of the Mordekaiser, you don't really want to be up close to him for too long because of that passive burn. There's just some nice trading going forward. Now, Envision have picked up that Herald. Mid tower already down. Obviously, when we talk about stalling games out, mid tower important for that to restrict how deep Envision can push. But right now, Clean's going to try to steal away this red. 4,000 to goal lead for Envision, and Dragon Spawn in less than a minute. So it would be the third, and we keep mentioning how when you get to that point of the third dragon, it gets really risky because you're one away from the Infernal for the other team. You have to be so cautious. You give one up, and they have the soul. So Enclave, they do have a little bit of vision set up in the vicinity, and they're trying to get control of this Infernal. Envision likely going to look to try and push through in response.
Yeah, I mean, at least Enclave have actually set the vision up properly now to try and control at least the river area at this point in time. Obviously haven't pushed anything into the red side jungle for Envision, but they are in position to contest this much more readily than they have been before. And Nolty maybe getting caught out here. No execution on that initial hit. Here comes Shikari. I'm not really sure he got much out of that ultimate, though. That was an ultimate that is now down for a team fight.
He got the flash from Aphelios, though, and the big thing was the Unbreakable was wasted by the Heathen. Only Angel here and ulting Elise.
He's ulting Nolty, maybe to take him out of the fight. Nolty gets a little sidestep there, now trying to drag him back in. Nolty very, very low. Will end up going down here to Only Angel, and the team fight breaks out. Suddenly things are being kited backwards. It's up to Adept and up to Prosper and Shikari to try and bring this one back. Adept actually doing huge damage and gets a double kill out of this. Shikari, Prosper, and Adept in a 3v3. No junglers available, and it looks like Enclave with the Cassiopeia are very confident to go and straight burst this Infernal.
And it's just easier team fights coming out from Enclave. Prosper's potentially going to look, but I don't think he can contest this one.
Adept is there. Not really sure you can do much, like you said, though.
Yeah, Adept's in a rough position. TP is coming in. This is from Shikari. No ultimate available, though.
This is very risky. I'm not really sure. There's a good sidestep from Adept to not get locked out. That's Prosper going in. Big knock-up from Prosper. Huge damage from Adept, and suddenly it puts Enclave in the dirt. 2 kills there picked up by Adept. That was a really well-calculated play.
Yeah, we were unsure whether it was the right play. It looked risky, but Prosper with the execution on the Rakan, the triple knock-up into the bounce house with Shikari. Just really great execution, and the reward, not only this mid tower, they might actually be able to break the inhibitor tower this early in the game.
Some of the best use of Rift Herald, I think, really well timed, maybe all setting up for that Rift Herald play as well. That's a big win, having only lost the Infernal Dragon, which really isn't worth as much as it used to be, with only 4 AD and AP being given over. It does deny the Dragon Soul for a bit longer, but this is excellent because they're going to pick up the inhibitor as well.
Yeah, and there's a lot of mixed opinions about the value of taking an inhibitor this early. I will say definitely taking the tower is a good thing for how much you can push up the lane. But this does mean that mid lane will be permanently pushing into Enclave. Yes, that gives them vision priority, but it also gives free farm over to the carries of the side of Enclave.
I think the way you look at it for me is if you are now going to use this to set up Baron, it's a good idea. Because you always want to shove mid lane waving when you're trying to set up a Baron and vision control, right?
But I don't think you need the inhibitor to shove mid lane in.
No, of course you don't. But it means you free up someone from being in mid lane, for instance, and allow you to set up more quickly.
I don't really think it changes things that drastically from just having 3 towers down.
I mean, I know that the last Shadow...
I don't think it's just that. We've seen SKT, we've seen G2. No, it was the SKT against G2. They've been recently, T1 have done this. G2 have also done it in a situation where they allow their own inhibitor to go down to give themselves that free farm. I think top teams are showing that in some situations you do want to leave it up, and it is going to give an extra wave of farm, but I think it likely won't become a factor because Envision are so far ahead. But
Yeah.
there's definitely elements to it. Taking down the tower, I 100% agree with. Inhibitor,
It can be risky. I mean, Inhibitor's always open at that point, right? So it can be risky versus, I guess, later scaling teams who want the farm.
yeah, I mean, the likes of Nephilios and
Cassiopeia.
So but it puts a time in the game that was already in this situation because you're up against such huge scaling carries. It just means that Envision really need to keep the pace on. But that was the case anyway, so I don't think it drastically changed things too much. It was just an interesting point to bring up.
I agree.
Envision still very much in control.
It's a good discussion to have.
Envision very much in control. Baron, some wards on, but they haven't really pushed deeper into the red side jungle to get more vision. But only Angel, you may have a tower, but that doesn't really guarantee you much protection in this situation. I think you need to back away a little bit.
Yeah, Shikari still holding his own really nicely in this matchup. He's yet to die, hasn't given away anything, and still finds himself close in CS to this Mordekaiser. So he's having a really, really good performance. As we'd expect from Shikari, he's a fantastic player. Has always been a fantastic top laner in the UK.
Yeah, absolutely, and waves will be picked up there by Houston Adept, and then it's just going to answer back in. Things slowed down a little bit since we saw that inhibitor go down. I think, although there is some vision, Nolty's looking for a pick on the bot side.
Nolty does come in. That's immediately going to be the ultimate use, trying to go for the 1v1. Nolty's going to pop that Zhonya's, or even just the stopwatch at this point, and only Angel will now eventually be the target. He does flash over the wall, wondering if they can even catch him. Shikari does have the ultimate if he needs it, but they shouldn't because they'll be able to box him into the...
Things going on Baron. They are clearing the vision. I'm not sure if they'll start it. They do have a Cassiopeia,
I
but
think it's risky.
only Angel's getting chased down in this situation.
I think only Angel's just going to die here. He's going to die too quickly as well. They drag in Shikari, but to no avail.
I don't think they can do Baron in this scenario in vision, even with the numbers advantage.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, I think Shikari's too low.
Yeah, but Dragon Spawn in a minute, it gives them a lot of control over the area.
I think Adept's just won this one. The flash in. Oh! 1 for 1. Air does burn the flash there. I think Adept actually ended up burning his at the end as well.
I mean, they've been both summoners trade, and honestly, this favors Air. Without the Tristana, you really aren't going to go for that Baron. It limits the sort of control you can have. And critically, Air has TP. Dragon comes up just as he respawns. Air doesn't have, Adept doesn't have TP not to run in. And the big thing is, there was a massive shutdown onto Adept. So by all means, Enclave won that trade.
Yeah.
In every single scenario. Really well played from Air. The Ignite burn potentially could have killed him, but the flash in to secure the trade, really powerful coming out from him. And now
they're setting up for it, but that teleport might be huge here for Air.
yeah, and the team fights are better for Enclave, so they potentially could challenge this if they want to, but it is only the 3rd dragon, remember. They don't need to get this.
Oh, Prospect goes to the knockup, but everybody else is there. They're just going to do a little bit of warding damage over to the Heathen, who gets chunked out to almost half HP. In the meantime, it is going to be Shikari just trying to push onto that bot lane tier 1, and actually that's bought enough time for Adept to move down.
Prosper's looking for a flank in this situation. He could come in from behind. This is a great angle. Hylissang-esque is all I can say in this position, but it looks like instead they want to answer this wave in the mid lane, where it's pushing in. So not going to respond.
Inhibitor worked out well, I guess. I mean, they pick up an extra dragon, they get the 3rd. I know it's not worth much right now, but...
I still think they probably would have got the dragon.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Either way, nothing changed too much. Dragon goes over to Envision. It is a 3rd. Not a massive boon in either scenario.
Lots of gold going on to Durking right now as well, which is something that you do have to keep an eye on. He has been farming every single mid lane wave that has popped up because of that inhibitor.
And he's pulled up ahead of Yusa in terms of gold.
He's up in gold ahead of Yusa.
Difference is 4K right now, so we saw a bigger advantage. I mean, no, it was a similar advantage to Envision, but a lot earlier in the game when it's more relevant. Right now, Enclave in an okay position. Baron is the big objective on the cards. Inhibitor has respawned in the mid lane. So honestly,
I would leave it, yeah.
They didn't, well, it's not just leaving it now, but they didn't get much from that Inhibitor being down.
They got one dragon at the end of the day, which maybe isn't worth it overall. They got a couple of towers, but that, again, maybe not totally worth it for the amount of gold that you've managed to funnel onto the Aphelios.
Did the inhibitor being down really affect
the turrets, yeah, or even the dragons? So
only Angel got to trade in the bot lane. I just felt like, you take the inhibitor down, you should set up for Baron, potentially look for it. I mean, they're going for that now. They've got members in the area in the setup, but only Angel's on the other side of the map with TP, and Shikari's preferring to group.
They need to make something happen if Shikari's grouping right here.
Yeah, they have this ward, so they see them walking out the pit. They know they're not there. Prosper's on the flank.
Brilliant knockup. They immediately get Dirking, but no one can follow up on him. That's a nice ult from Shikari, going to force the flash out of Dirking. A zoning ult comes out from Heathen as well, and Nulti is going to force them back. And Only Angel didn't even bother moving. They're going to go for the inhibitor.
I love that confidence from Only Angel. He just does not care at all. Doesn't move, doesn't TP. Envision, they get some summoners. They're going to get this inhibitor once again. And that's it. They are pinging over the Barons. They will head over there, and they have good vision control to a degree over this area, but there are still some wards behind. Shikari has now gone to answer, but Only Angel trading pretty good. And if you look at the goal difference, it's only 2,500 now. It's dropped significantly, so Enclave doing a good job to get back in this game.
They're doing a great job, actually. This has been very impressive from Enclave. They've kept their metal from the early game, which didn't go in their favor. And they have a team that scales. Arguably, I would say better than Envision, even though it can be considered close with Tristana and Senna.
Yeah, I'd say it's just... I mean, there are ways that Envision can win teamfights later on if they find good flank angles like Prosper did onto Dirk and there, and obviously they can outskill them. Senna, Ornn, and Tristana, both all monsters in the late game. But Cassiopeia, really powerful. Philos, really powerful. And combined with the Jarvan, you throw the Miasma down, you throw the Aphelios ult down, whoever's in that Cataclysm is going to be having a bad time. And
you remember, you always can take someone out of the fight with Only Angel's ultimate as well, so it's something that you have to keep your eye on. Now, Shikari heading back up towards the Baron area, not willing to sit in the side lane with teleport, just wants to be there to make something happen immediately with that ultimate. So it does feel like the Envision are trying to set up for some kind of big team fight play. They have those ultimates available. The quickness is there again already. So Envision are just desperate to make something happen here off the back of this inhibitor take, and it has to be that Baron, it has to be something more proactive than what they are achieving right now. And again, Only Angel just happy to push in the bot lane.
Yeah, so they've actually shoved up pretty far here, and they've started up this Baron. This is a two-man, but it's pretty fast with Adept and Nulti onto it. And because they've pushed them so far away, they're not even ranged the blue trinket yet. It's now 6k HP, they've seen this. Cleanse needs to get there though, and he's quite far away.
Teleport from Only Angel behind as well. This is going to be gone though, I think. You're right. Going to be repelling up. He's very close. I mean, that's a big push away. He ulted him away. That's so good from Adept. The flash comes over. Cleanse is there. He gets it. That was an early smite from Nulti. A huge steal from Enclave, and now they just need to convert on the team fight. Cleanse goes in. Big ultimate. They knock up onto Prosper, and Shikari and Yusa are kiting away, but I think Prosper will go down to Only Angel. Adept on the back line also manages to dodge out from that ultimate from Dirking, but that is a huge swing for Enclave.
It was actually an early smite from Cleanse. He nearly dropped the ball. He was the only smite.
Oh, bloody hell.
But he still secured it. Nulti couldn't smite because he was in a death on, but that was great from Only Angel. What a play coming out to TP in. And I was like, it's gone. They can maybe they'll win I looked like they were going to win the fight because of how low Adept and Nulti were, but I was like, the Baron's gone. And Only Angel makes the miracle flash play, points Nulti down and says, you're not getting this Baron.
I didn't actually catch it because he'd ulted me away. Dirking actually now the target, immediately blown up by Adept. That's a good pickup for them. That might slow down the pace of this Baron push.
You know, after a good play, sometimes you get a little bit overconfident.
And that might give the Dragon Soul away.
That will give the Dragon Soul away. It's in 15 seconds. I can't fight without Dirkin. That's actually a really big oversight there, him walking up. Costly.
Wow. The thing is, like, Enclave are making this competitive, but everything that we knew about this Envision roster, we felt like they shouldn't have been competitive.
No, but making some mistakes. And Enclave, I mean, this is right. What is really frustrating is they make this great play around that Baron. Really good reaction from Only Angel. They win the team fight out, and then all I have to do is not get caught. And then Dirkin walks up. They give away the Dragon Soul, and a lot of their Baron timer. It's disappointing when that sort of thing happens, but Dragon Soul is overcomable. You can still win against it. I've seen it happen before. The game is not yet over, but it might be a little bit difficult for Only Angel right now because the flank's coming in. Just have the ult up now, though.
Yeah, only Angel ready to make this happen. He has got the ult that he can put onto Adept. He drags him in. There's a death. But I think Adept can even just win this 1v1, even in the death realm right now. That's the ultimate coming in from Shikari. He gets the shutdown. The knockup is brilliant. That's such a good jump out from Adept as well. And now Shikari trying to trade back. Yusa is here. He pops a huge amount of damage as Shikari tries to get the knockup. And Air is now eventually going to go down too. And Vision, good return from them off the back of that dragon, over zealousness from only Angel and Air to make that play happen, and it's a great response from Envision.
Unforced errors is how I'll say. I mean, it's good from Envision to collapse on that, but it's just Enclave being caught out in the wrong place, and disappointing to see when they'd gained that lead, when they'd stolen that Baron away. And it's now going to give Envision the position to take this tower. It's good from them, don't get me wrong. It's just...
It was an error from Enclave.
Yeah, and it's just difficult to see a team who have struggled so hard in the UKLC to make a great play and then end up losing from it, potentially. But top tower going to go down. This inhibitor, a lot more valuable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. On the opposite side from the Elder Dragon, it will still be down as the Elder Dragon spawns, and that objective is a game winner, without doubt.
So maybe Cleanse looking to make an engage happen here, but they don't have air and they don't have teleport. So it's just not something that you can work with. And on Envision, when they needed to make something happen, yes, it is only 3,000 gold, but the map is massively in their favor right now. Enclave pushing down mid. I'm wondering whether Enclave feel confident enough to go for another play here. You're missing some No, you're not missing any ultimates. You have all of yours available.
Mordekaiser's about to come up.
Yeah. They're probably not timing that though, are they?
I think for me, the big thing is that TP on Only Angel a lot sooner. I think you play around that. Baron's in 2 minutes. Only Angel's TP will be up shortly after. So you can put him in a side lane and potentially allow him to split. And if Shikari answers, TP in, and then you've won the fight, I think. The only concern is this inhibitor on the top side. You want someone clearing that, but Cassiopeia can do it. You just need very good defensive vision control to allow for that. Otherwise, you'll be catching the waves too deep to contest the Baron. We'll see how it plays out. Envision up in gold still. Tristana Adept very strong with 4 items and that Bloodthirster as well. Yusa not so much. Still not really come online massively, but Tristana level 16 in a really comfortable spot.
Yusa's been quiet. He's been the support AD carry right now. This really has been all about Adept so far. And for someone that I haven't seen much of, I've been very impressed with Adept's play.
Yeah, he has been good. Got to praise him for that. And the game is very much going to be on the shoulders of him and Yusa as we get in the later stages, because Nalty is falling off. For now, though, there's still quite a few wards on the top side. It looks like Envision are moving their pressure to the other side of the map, trying to look towards the lone lane with a tower outside of the base. Lane with any tower at all, and they're positioned pretty heavily for this. So without a Baron even available to help with the waves, they're just going to take this one down. Enclave not in position to contest this one. They put all their vision on the top side, expecting the Baron to be the focus. And Vision playing around that, really intelligent to essentially get a free tower in this scenario. And also it's on the opposite side of the map from that inhibitor being down.
Yeah, you have to be so careful about that. And Mordekaiser is up there to clear those waves. Obviously, we'll be able to do so with relative ease, but you're always going to have to respond to the pressure generated on that side of the map.
Yeah, and it's a distance him being from the team fight, but his TP's coming up soon, so this is a point where Enclave have a distinct advantage. Having that TP available to Mordekaiser and down for Shikari for another 3 minutes means they can coordinate and get a numbers advantage. Gold up in front of our screens. All the carries of Enclave are fairly even on 12,400. You can see on the other side, it's only Adept who far exceeds his counterpart. Yusa and Shikari down in gold. And then it's Nalty having a big lead over Cleanse, but that's not really too relevant right now on an Elise. So Mordekaiser's gone on the bot wave. Air is covering the top wave where the inhibitor is down. But they're looking to start up this Baron again as a 2-man. We've seen this before. TP's up. Will there be a repeat of the play that occurred? Looks like they're not even close enough to contest, and Adept is doing this so much faster.
Yeah, they're trying to get them away. Yusa will be able to get Shikari into a better position here. Shikari very tanky. He immediately pops that stopwatch to buy some time. The Baron already picked up, and suddenly the ultimate from Senna comes out. Prosper buying time as well, and I think Enclave are in a rough position in this team fight. It's going to be Shikari re-engaging with the Call of the Forge God. Gets the knock-up. That's a brilliant person to knock up as well, as Durkin gets taken so low. This surely is game, as Envision finally finally find the opening against Enclave. They get the Baron, they get the team fight. The triple kill is finally there for Yusa. And we are going to see Envision rightfully pick up their first win in the UKLC. They will get a point on the board. They will start to get some confidence back in this roster, and they will eventually take down the Nexus.
Yeah, it wasn't super flashy or slow, and there were definitely mistakes, but Envision deliver and get their first win. Really solid performance from Adept, and Nulty looked good throughout. Little blip, little mistake, but they managed to secure the landing and get the win.
Yeah, I mean, if you just have a look at the scores of these guys, it tells a tale of a game that was played in a very safe manner. Not too many risks taken, but they did let Enclave back into the game in certain scenarios. But the most of the game was played really well from Envision in general. It was just a couple of little errors here or there, giving up some neutral objectives when they didn't need to. It felt like it should have been cleaner, but I think they'll be very happy to just get their first win on the board.
Yeah, and I'm happy for them. They played well. Adept, who was the biggest unknown quantity on this roster, compared to everyone else who we've seen quite a bit of, looked very good on the Tristana.
Yeah, he did.
And Nulty, I criticized him. He looked very on form on this Elise game for the most part. Even when the Baron was stolen away, that wasn't really on him. That wasn't really preventable by him, other than better sweeping of the area, which is more of a team sort of scenario. But Enclave,
they had flashes of brilliance.
That's the frustrating thing, is that they had moments where I was like, what? Enclave, they're looking good. And then they just give away the most pointless advantages. They just...
individual mistakes.
Just die randomly in these really weird positions. And it just... when you make a play as good as that, only Angel play to TP in, flash and ult Nulty was so good. And then they just give up the advantages because Durkin gets caught out. And then only Angel gets caught out and Air TP's in. And it's like, this team legitimately, with some sort of focus and working on and just shoring up these mistakes, could be good. But the problem is they're 0-3 now, and it really hurts to be in this position. So definitely is some potential there for this roster. It's just there's a lot of work that needs to be put in before they can achieve it. I will say, however, Envision is definitely on the top end, like on the upper end of teams.
They should arguably be at least number 3 in the league, just based on pure individual skill alone.
And I think that's the sort of thing we have to wonder about, is because Enclave, yes, they made those mistakes. If this was against another team who are maybe on the lower end, would that still happen? Or are Envision still a little bit rough? And I think there's a bit of both. I think Envision aren't on the form we expect on them, but I think Enclave also did put up a little bit of a fight. I think there are potentially teams, maybe in the second round of the round robin, I think they could pick up some points. But for now, definitely shoring up those weaknesses. And I think there's a lot to take away from this game as the main thing.
Absolutely a great VOD review game for both of these teams.
A lot more than the game against Fnatic.
Yeah,
there was nothing to take away really from that game other than, oh, well, we did that and we lost. Cool. But this one, I think there's a lot they can look over and go, right, we'll work on that. And they should be happy that, at least for a moment, they made everyone wonder, is Envision going to go 0-3?
Absolutely. Well, speaking of Fnatic, after the break, we have Fnatic Rising taking on Phelan. So we'll see you soon.